Good day, everyone. This is Pine Leaf Needles, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO, and here at LOTRO Players. And this week, we have with us Andang,
Hey everybody.
Atheros,
Hello.
Draculetta,
Hey, everybody.
and Braxwolf.
Hello, Lotro.
Hello, LOTRO. And today, our big news is second round of beta for 14.2. Whoop, whoop, whoopee. Yes.
Control the excitement level, Pine Leaf.
Yes.
See, this week Pineleaf learned sarcasm. It's a new skill for him, but he's happy to be starting to use it. So
And we have a little bit of polish to the dead marshes, and actually the big item here is the preloader feature. And Draculetta, could you tell us something about the preloader feature?
I guess. I don't know. I really didn't read it. So if it's like TDOs, basically what it's going to do is it will preload part of the game for you, so it should load your character much, much faster.
Yeah,
You-
I tested this myself on the beta server today a few times, and it consistently worked for me.
And how much faster in loads do you think it would be roughly?
From the character selection menu into the actual game, it usually takes me about 1 to 2 minutes to log in, sometimes longer. With the Bulroar update, it's about 20 to 30 seconds consistently. So that's a big improvement.
And for Methros, that's a roaring endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have at least 2 gigs of RAM in your computer to be able to use this.
Yes, that's a thing also.
you also have to probably have 2 gigs of RAM to be able to use Lotro.
Well, that's-
Well, maybe.
Just
I
pointing
bet
that
you-
out there.
I bet you could get it to run on less. I don't know why you would want to. I could get it to work.
It probably would, but I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to do it, but you know. Never say never is my just
There's that
thing on
one
that.
guy out there that's like, no, I only have 1.98 gigs. Ugh."
All right. And the other news is a little something about our path to Mordor. Well, Draculetta.
Yes, there was a thread on the official forums earlier in the week. Basically, it started out as one of the, this game is horrible. Why aren't we getting raids? Why aren't you doing this? Yada, yada, yada thread. And it kind of changed throughout the pages of the thread. And somebody brought up the fact, why aren't we into Mordor yet? And Production Malfunction, which I love that name, by the way, chimed in. And he said this, and I'll read it exactly as he worded it in the forums. And there's also a link in the show notes so you can see this on the forums as well. He says, exactly, the MMO landscape has changed drastically over the past 6 years. All I can say right now is we are very aware of this, and, well, we will see what we will bring to the table in 2015. And then he says, to Mordor, Mount Doom. The plan is already there and has been for years. It's awesome, but yes, we obviously do not follow Sam and Frodo, since in the books they don't have any population where we can hide players. Sure, I guess we could do the forward guard for Frodo or the cleanup crew, but that is kind of lame and very forced. But there is a war a few hundred miles to the east of Frodo that fits what is needed for an MMO. Towns, conflicts, good guys, bad guys, places to explore. This gives breadth and space for you to be the hero for a while, not the baggage handler for Merry and Pippin. It is fun to run alongside Legolas, but it's not fun to watch Legolas do all the work. If you get what I mean, would a Frodo and Sam game be cool someday? Sure, but not as an MMO. that would just turn into Frodo and his amazing friends. We will continue to visit Frodo and the real hero, Sam, like we do in 14.2.
Now, one little point on this is we're all pretty sure that the bit about a few hundred miles east was intended to be a few hundred miles west because it's much more logical that he meant a few hundred miles west because there is a war going on a few hundred miles west, and that's where we're at right now.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
basically, sorry.
I was going to say, on the directional thing, I don't think that side of the map was even filled out that much by Tolkien, even, was it?
Right.
No, he just kind of says that evil men live there and Sauron had his hold on him. That's
Yep.
pretty
Right.
much as he went into it.
Basically all.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's face it, the Gondor is a much more interesting side. So I get the impression, especially since in a follow-up post, he made it clear that he was intending to mean Gondor.
Yep.
But some people were trying to read into that we were going to head off into the fight the Easterlings down in Rune or something like that. But
That
I don't
would
think
be
that's what he
cool
meant.
though, if that ever happened. Just saying. After Mordor is defeated, that'd be a cool place to go.
After Mordor, right? When they're trying to fill out Middle Earth afterwards to
Mhm.
continue the story. But for now, I think we have quite enough to do in Gondor.
Several years worth, yeah.
Several years worth, yes. And of course, several more store sales will be between now and then too.
Look at
But
that
what's this
segue.
week's sale?
What a segue, Pine Leaf. I am impressed. Free sample of the week. Sturdy steel key. You get one of those per account. Coupon code this week is SSKF9. SSKF9. Once again, one of those per account, so choose wisely. 25% off Virtues, Virtue Bundles, Trade Slots, and the Skill and Slayer Deed Boost. Also, all month long, the welcome back is turned on, so you get 25% XP, and that does last until September 30th.
25% extra XP.
Extra XP, yes, sorry. I worded that wrong. And Farmers Fair is back through September 16th, and also all through the month of September. They are going to be doing their weekend deals like they did. They did this last year at this time as well. Every weekend, just for the weekend in the store, there's going to be specials. This weekend, it lasts until Monday the 7th. So for those listening live, you can go ahead and partake in these. If you listen to the recorded version, sorry you missed them. 75% off Universal Potions, 30% off the Gift of the Valar, and 30% off Mithril Coins. Once again, until September 7th for those. And that is pretty much the store sales this week.
All right, thank you very much. So we will head on to the news at the LOTRO Player site, and we'll begin with the poll of the week. So, Andang, how'd the poll go?
Probably how it goes every week, finally. But this week we did ask people, how many books by Tolkien have you read? And 5 books seems to be the top answer with 46% of the vote, followed closely by 10, and then 3, and then 20, and then apparently 5 people have only read a single book by Tolkien, and 8 people haven't even read a book by Tolkien.
8? 8 haven't read any of them?
That's what our poll says. Finally, they could have lied. I don't know, but that's our poll results. What surprised me though was that 10 was so high on the list with 44 votes. That's kind of surprising because normally people read The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and then maybe The Silmarillion, and then they don't go much further. So that's kind of interesting to learn how into Tolkien our audience is. I think that's pretty awesome. Because even if you counted Lord of the Rings as 3 different books, and The Hobbit and the Silmarillion, that's still only 5. So very cool that
Right.
people seem to be reading quite a lot of Tolkien.
All right, then we'll head on to our next item, and CSTM, of course, still likes to put out their guides, their festival guides. And of course, since we're starting the Farmers Festival, I'm sure Draculetta has some news on what CSTM has to offer us.
Yes, Golden Star is up to her old tricks again with another amazing festival guide. She covers everything in the festival, how to do it, the best way to do it, especially the quest that I hate the most in the Farmer's Fair is when you got to bring the stupid mayor the food. She tells you exactly what food to bring him, so you can just look at that guide and you can get through that quest with no problem. So head over to CSTM and check out another amazing guide by the wonderful Golden Star.
All right, thank you very much. And ZAM apparently is offering us a LOTRO starter pack, in which they are just giving away if you register for ZAM, or what is this? How about Ethros?
This I don't really understand how this works either, to be honest.
Yeah, you.
I just know if you sign up for their site, you can get a code that will give you a bunch of items and certain other unlocks that will be great for any new player, pretty much.
Yeah, Zam does this quite often, actually.
Mhm.
For different games, you basically just have to sign up for an account, which is free.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to a specific page on the ZAM site, but if you follow the link in the story, it takes you right to that page. Is if you're logged in with your ZAM account, you just click on Get Key, and it will give you the key, and then you just go to your My Account page and input that key, and then you'll get the stuff for all new characters you create. And every character that you have now will also get the box that basically shows up in your inventory on your first login.
Yes.
Yep.
So these
And
items,
never mind.
all right. So these items include the riding trait, a chestnut steed, so one of the standard steeds that you can buy at the farm. And thankfully, it is not the blonde sorrel, the sorrel blonde, or whatever they call that crazy horse that seems to pop up too often. A 100% experience boost, some universal healing potions, I know, whoop-de-doo, some cosmetics, and a skill slayer and deed boost. So the cosmetics and the riding trait is probably the most important of the items that you might
Yeah.
be interested
And
in.
one word of note on that is you can't actually use the writing trait until you get out of the intro and you get the novice trait.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
The Slayer and Skill D boost is, it says there it's bound to a count. Could you then theoretically just constantly create new characters and end up with a whole bunch of those? Move them up to your characters you actually play.
Well, that is a hole in the whole thing if that's true, because
Because usually you can see on the
Yeah.
tome of XP that it's bound flat, so you can't swap it across.
right, but bound to
But yeah, if it would be bound to account, you should be able to do that.
right, because
Yeah,
that's
Juahi
that's
says
got to
yes,
be
you
a bug
can.
if that's true.
Juahi says yes, you can from the chat.
I would imagine they'd end up changing that pretty soon.
Yes, do not depend on that still being the case in the future.
It's still worth it for the writing skill.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless, of course, you already have the journeyman trait or something like that.
Well, yeah, but if you're like a free
And
play
obviously,
player,
if you're into cosmetics, then I guess the cosmetic exclusive might be worth it.
Yeah, it is a starter pack giveaway though, so for new players, that's an awesome starter
mean,
pack.
Yeah,
I
for
think.
new players, yes.
Free is good value.
Yeah,
That's for sure. Certainly a better value than some of the other ones I've seen.
that costs money, presumably.
Yes. All right, very well. We, of course, had our 30th episode of Locho Players Adventures, where we passed the Pebble milestone.
Yeah, Thalros came up with that, so I don't think he remembers either how that came about, but we had a show.
I guess it's because 30 is a milestone, but it's not that big. A milestone is like 50 or 100, so it's a pebble instead of a stone.
Well,
Right.
actually, I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think we were referring to pebbles when we were inside the actual instance that we were doing. And do you remember what instances we did?
Moria ones that were in Lothlorien.
Yeah,
We
yes,
did the 6 man, and then we did a skirmish, if I remember right.
right. Yes, so therefore that would have been
Halls of crafting.
the halls of
Yeah, that's what it
crafting.
was.
Yes,
Yep.
and then yes, yes. I can't remember why we're discussing pebbles.
I'm pretty sure it was actually the reason Athos gave. So, we did have a lot of fun going through those instances as we do every week. And if you want to join us, you can every Saturday at 5 on Landerville. Just send us tell to staff thing, and we'll have fun.
Right. Very well. And Tim continued his family line story, and this week they visit Elthangles, which is of course is still within Rohan, and Elthangles is within the Norcrofts.
Yep, and this continues the awesome story that he's giving through the Rohan, basically, and it's pretty cool. I really enjoy reading through it every week. It just keeps getting better and better, and the images keep getting better and better. Every week, I think people are commenting in the comments below about how great these images are. It's not just me, so I recommend everybody checks out this article. It's fantastic, and the images help bring the story to life.
I wanted to point out here, Andang, that LOTRO Players has a lot of really good fan fiction on the site that kind of gets overlooked if you're here looking for news. But it's certainly worth checking out the fan fiction tab of this site if you enjoy. If you're one of those 8 people that hasn't read a Tolkien book, start here, and it's a little bit easy. I'm being stupid, but
Depending
yeah,
on what part of the Tolkien book you're talking about, it is a lot easier than starting out.
Yeah,
Harsh but fair. Harsh but fair.
this would
Parts of
be
the
a good-
Silmarillion are pretty hard to digest.
I mean, these
Yeah,
are
Farmer
speaking-
Giles though would be easy to digest.
Yes, it
Speaking
would.
of
But
length,
anyway.
these are a short, digestible length. They come out about once a week usually, and
Mm-hmm.
we've had some really good fan fiction writers come through the site. Something to be proud of,
Indeed,
Don't
yeah.
want to
it's-
underestimate the creative content.
right?
Yeah, I'd say that they're right there up with our news team, which is probably what we're known for. And it's really amazing just how much of that great content comes out every single week. So, yeah, definitely recommend if you haven't checked out the fan fiction section. There's a year's worth of fan fiction there now, so plenty of stuff to choose from.
All right, very well. And now we'll go ahead into Andang's usual video highlight. And what are we highlighting this week?
This week is once again another part of the Beyond the Shadows series that came with the collector's edition of Shadows of Angmar and then was released to the public in 2009 because apparently you were only buying it that section for exclusivity. There was a lot of other stuff in there too, but this series did come out in 2009 to everyone else, and this one goes over the weapons and armor, so basically how they created all that stuff, and they even talk about like how they created the die system and how they had to design the armor in a certain way. And if you're a fan of cosmetics, weapons, or armor, this is a really cool video that goes behind the scenes at Turbine. So, highly recommend it.
Very well, thank you, Andang. Now this week, Lily Kate had another installment of Where's Tinky, and this time she goes to Harndirian, and the idea is, of course, to find Tinky in easy, medium, and the challenge. And I was wondering, how did you guys do in finding her?
Terribly.
Terribly.
Especially on that challenge. I don't know how anyone can find her on that challenge. It's tough
Actually,
this
I
week.
did find her on that one.
Well, Pineleaf, you're special.
That's the word.
You just know everything. You probably knew before the article even came out where it was because you're Pineleaf and you just know.
All right.
I don't think I've ever found Tinky on challenge mode.
I have a few times. It is a really big challenge this week, though, I think. Somebody sent me a message saying that they'd found it on challenge every single time except for this week. This week was the hardest one for them. So
Well, I didn't think this week's was that hard.
Pineleaf, once again, you're awesome. So you find
I
it
mean,
pretty
there's some
easy.
other weeks where I haven't been able to find them, but this week's.
You heard it, Illicate. Make it extra hard for Pineleaf next week.
Give Pineleaf his own version because
The
he's obviously
Pineleaf,
head and
the
shoulders above
Pineleaf
everyone else.
difficulty. Forget challenge. Just give the Pineleaf difficulty.
Well, maybe it's because it was at Hardinnery, when of course there's a skirmish camp there. So
It always comes back to skirmishes,
It does.
doesn't
It does.
I think Tinky's behind the camera in this one.
No,
no,
can't
she's
find it.
not
Shaking,
behind the
huh?
camera.
Taking the picture.
Where's Tinky? Every week, Brax answers behind the camera.
It's in first person.
You can't trick me.
Actually, the easiest for Tinky to find in the challenge, I think, is the hat.
Probably, yeah.
Cable
All
Knit
right.
Direction in the chat says tier 2 pine leaf mode.
Well, then, Lily Kate, of course, isn't just visiting Hardinnery. She's also visiting the Balewood Ents and has a little article with screenshots there.
Yeah, this is, she's basically going back. She had a screenshot series that she was doing, and she's returned to it. And Lily Kate takes absolutely amazing screenshots. If you haven't seen some of her screenshots before, they're always great. And this week we get a really cool, literally cool one of
Yeah, literally
the
cool if
Ents,
it's in the Balewood, yeah.
the Ents in the Balewood. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very well. And being as busy as she was, she also brought us a new episode of LOTRO Players Adventures. A small LOTRO adventure, sorry about that. Episode 20, and she basically made a rundown of all those donation mentions that she's been missing the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and Lizzie took over the microphone at the beginning.
Yes,
Yeah.
if nothing else, it's worth watching for that part. It was awesome. I always enjoy this series, and Lizzie and Lily Kate, the dynamic between the two is there's really nothing else like it, and I recommend everybody check it out. It's pretty cool. Just like the
All right.
screenshot.
All right, very well. And that's it for Lily Kate this week, but I have a feeling she's going to be joining it. She's going to be sending us more stuff next week. But we'll head on to Estelle Ali, who has another poem for us. I know, what a shock. And this one is actually dedicated to LOTRO players. Let's go on an adventure tonight. LOTRO players in their glory and might. The Middle Earth is our playground. We're here to win. We won't turn round. Anding brought his young lore master. Braxwolf shoots his bow faster. Pineleaf is a little hobbit warden. Draculetta's class, I don't remember, pardon. Etheros is mighty captain. Estelle Ali doesn't join them often. But he has a kinship to run. He leads raids and have fun. But LOTRO players have fun of their own. They travel through Middle-earth from dusk till dawn. They slay the minions of Sauron they meet, from Fork Hell's icy weather to Moria's heat. Each week their fellowship grows, their number increase, their legend grows. Let's go on adventure tonight. LOTRO players are ready for a fight.
That's awesome. Especially how it all rhymes together, like, a poem should. Great job, Estelle Ali. That's fantastic. And if you guys have poems, submit them to Estelle Ali, and he'll feature them in the article that he does every single week. He always has some great poems, and it's always fun to hear Pineleaf read them.
All right, very well. And that is it for the Lojo Players News. So we'll head into Brax's pick.
Okay, you guys ready for this?
No?
Probably not if you started with that.
Because we have in our pick of the week this week another entry from Sue Helm. And Sue Helm of Orc on a Fork fame,
Oh,
he
no.
he has a post over on his blog, suehelm.wordpress.com, called Sue Helm Implodes, Then Turns into an Angry Bird. And I had to feature this because you just have to. I mean, you read through this and you can't walk away without being impacted in some way. My life was greatly impacted after reading this. Basically, there's so many things going on in this post, and there are so few words to actually describe these thoughts and ideas. And I will just hit a few highlights here. He thinks over the term gamer, talks about how gamers used to be, the logistics, or not logistics, the demographics of gamers used to be prepubescent kids sitting in front of their NESs, and the most recent demographic chart is now showing that the largest gaming demographic is adult women. So he postulates that in some way, shape, or form, playing video games turns young pubescent men into adult women. And I think he's a little bit relieved that this has not actually affected him in this way. So I will talk about the official health scare here that he says playing computer games will change your sex. Why? Because that's what the stats say. So statistics always tell you everything. The other thing he talks about is he had this shocking revelation over the past couple months or past month or so that his name doesn't mean Sue Helm. His name doesn't mean what he thought it meant, because he had always assumed that tsunami meant big wave, the Sue part meaning big. What he learned was Sue doesn't mean big at all. It actually means what did he come up with? Port. So Sue means port, Nami means wave. So wave coming into the port, I guess, is in Japanese is what that means. So now all of his character names that he started with the Sue prefix means port something instead of big something. So another shocking revelation for Sue. So another shocking revelation for Sue this week, and he's probably going to give up gaming for fear of turning into an adult woman.
So this is LOTRO Players News, right? I didn't tune into the wrong place.
It says LOTRO in the title.
That's what makes the article tied in with everything. Okay. Awesome pick, Brax, and thanks, Sue, so much for keeping us very entertained every single time that your name ends up on this podcast. So thank you so much, Sue.
All right, very well. And now we'll go into the news beyond the Lotro, where we'll begin with Maribelli's story on Sauron's deadly servant, and he has part 3 of it, discussing the siege of Gondor, and it looks like this particular stage is going to come to an end with this one, so I'm sure he'll have another new miniseries next week. I'm trying to avoid spoilers on that.
Yeah, he'll probably will. But yeah, it continues going through Sauron's Deadly Servant, and once again, fantastic artwork, and particularly the one with Eowyn, I think is just absolutely amazing. So definitely recommend checking out for that kind of stuff. It's really cool to see the battle going on there.
Yes, and no, Eowyn is not the deadly servant.
That we know of.
Yes.
She could have done a quick costume change and just put the cloak on a post and, defeated the Witch King. Just saying, it's possible.
All right. with that,
No,
we will
Eowyn's
head
awesome.
yes. We'll head into a presentation of the films. Draculetta, what's going on here?
Well, if you are anywhere near New York City in April of 2015, I would suggest heading to the Lincoln Center and checking this out. What they're going to do is they're going to show all three of the films, but there's going to be a 250-piece orchestra playing the soundtracks live during the film.
Now, actually, they say 250 person, not piece. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the choruses will count as people. They don't count as pieces.
Well, okay.
Yes, because I don't think that there's going to be 350 instruments. I think that the 250 includes the choruses that are involved.
You have been educated by Pineleaf.
I guess so. I have been learned today.
Anyway.
Don't worry, Drac. It happens to all of us.
It happens to everybody.
Okay.
Anyway,
Lillocate new challenge: 250 person Lotro orchestra. Go.
Well, that's going to be tough, I think. I think everybody has to be a member of the same raid.
She just has to give a few calls to Turbine first, and get the coding done. It'll happen.
We have no trouble with 24.
I'm sure you do.
The important thing about this, though, is this is the first time that the entire trilogy has been performed in the U.S. It's been done in Switzerland and in Germany before, but only single films have ever been done here in the United States. So this is the first time you can see all three with the orchestra.
Awesome.
What time are they going to... Oh, they'll be starting at 1:30 p.m.? Oh, no, we'll wrap things.
It's split into different days.
Okay. It's on different days. All right. Yes, okay, I see. On Wednesday, on a Saturday, then Sunday.
When Pineleaf gives this much information, you know he's interested in going. So there you go.
All right, very well. Thank you very much. And as for donations, we did not receive any this week, but we would just love to have your support. And if you'd like to help us, just simply go to the LOTRO Players site and go to the donations page where you can help support the podcasts of LOTRO Players and also help support the site. We have $5 and $10 mentions where you can donate and get a mention on one or all of our active podcasts for an episode, depending on the amount. For $5, you get a mention on the podcast of your choice. For $10 or more, you get a mention on all of our active podcasts. As for feedback, we did not receive any reviews this week, but we would love to have your support. Comments. We have a comment from Tim, who left a comment on last week's episode. Andang, thank you so much for reading my origin story to the millions of unseen people. It was great hearing it voiced by someone other than myself, and you just make it funnier, in my opinion. Etheros, thanks for being a great sport. Hopefully you liked it and not have any hard feelings and not have the feeling of send a devastating blow my way. Oh no, you can't. Your captain isn't leveled.
Oh man,
that's cold.
That is.
It stings at the same time.
Yes. I liked that everybody laughed and had a good time. It's a nice feeling of validation because you don't know how well your jokes will be received. Again, thanks for reading it. Tim.
Thank you so much, Tim, for sending this in. We really enjoyed your origin story last week, and so did the chat room and everyone who wrote in saying how good the origin story was. So thank you so much, Tim, for the origin story last week. That was awesome.
And we also have an email from Barnabas. This is a bit of a long one, and it's a bit of a smash-up. However, it explains a lot of the LOTRO Players universe. This is, of course, his origin story for Etheros. And Andix, you do so great in Etheros origin stories.
Frankly, I don't trust Pineleaf to read this one.
Now I've set a precedent.
He's biased.
Great. Okay, here we go. Many years ago, there lived an elf named Atheros. He was the wisest lore master of the Isles. He wore wisdom on his brow, and his knowledge was deep. He traveled from Cardiff to Wex. How do you pronounce that, Atheros?
Where is that now? Oh, Wrexham.
Wrexham. That's actually how it looks. Cool. Sharing his knowledge and wisdom freely to all he meet. Quick to laugh and philanthropic, he soon
Philanthropic.
yeah, that too. He soon became world renowned. In the end, that would be his downfall. One fine morning, he was sitting on the beach by the sea. His most trusted pet, the battle cat, curled up at his feet. He was reading from the Encyclopedia of Arda, and he noticed someone approaching him. Walking toward him on the sands was a hobbit. But he was no ordinary hobbit. He was muscular and tan, and the wind blew his long curly locks. Hail and well met, said the hobbit. You are Theros, the most intelligent being in the known world, aren't you? I am, Theros replied. Do I know you? No, replied the hobbit. I am called Needles, Pine Leaf Needles, who apparently also stole my tagline.
Well, actually, what's even stranger is the fact that is that if they had Hobbit form, wouldn't they have gotten the gender for like the character?
Pine Leaf.
Never mind.
He introduces himself like James Bond.
Anyway, Pineleaf put Atheros at ease with his easygoing manner and superior podcast demeanor. After some time, when Atheros was completely relaxed, Pineleaf raised his hand. He placed it upon Atheros' face. He was immediately paralyzed and could only watch what would transpire. The battle cat stirred and growled, sensing something was wrong. Pineleaf cast his gaze at the cat. It trembled and ran down the beach. As the world started to darken to black, Atheros watched the cat run and murmured, "Useless cat," as he fell into unconsciousness.
See, missed. I told you.
Pineleaf gloated over the prone lore master. It was over. He used the infamous Pineleaf mind meld. Atheros' mind was now an empty vessel. All of his knowledge passed on to the ravenous hobbit. He let out a long, loud cackle of triumph. Pineleaf. That was better than I could have asked.
Kills in my soul.
Oh my gosh. At the noise, something stirred in the surf. Pineleaf's war dolphin had arrived. He ran into the water and hopped on its back, and was not seen in those parts again. When Atheros awoke, he could remember nothing, not even the movie he watched last night. At first, he could only speak in one-word sentences and two-word paragraphs. His mind cleared a little, and he plodded back to his home and tried to put the shattered pieces of his life back together. Try as he might, he could recall none of the vast knowledge he once possessed. People asked for his advice. He gave nothing. They thought he was refusing to share his knowledge, and was soon shunned. He started to get down. Then he had a thought. I'll create a fantastic weapon, a legendary weapon, and track down that detestable Pineleaf. Alas, the system was too complex and broken for him to master in his present state.
Okay, that's awesome.
So now he walks from town to town depressed, a lore master with no lore.
Oh, that was a sad story.
It was at the end, but it was hilarious.
The system was too complex and broken.
Oh man, Atheros. Man, people are picking on you.
Cable,
Yes, Pine Leaf.
CableNet.
Nothing to say for yourself now, is it?
If you have an origin story, you can email us at lotroplayers.mymiddleearth@gmail.com. And you can also email us for other comments you would like to make. And you can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Anding at PVMP_Anding, Braxwolf at Braxwolf, Sithrith at Sithrith, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, Etheros at Etheros, Lily Kate at Lily Kate Buggins, Mystery at Mystery XOX, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, and you can join us live for Lotro Players News each Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time. That is United States Eastern Time. You can join us at lotroplayers.com/live. You can also join us on Langeable for Lotro Players Adventures each Saturday at 5 p.m. server time. Thank you, and thanks for listening. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles. And remember to skirmish responsibly.